गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। वेल, we are again discussing the same old topic, India's options. Do we go towards China, USA, or anyone else? Why am I talking this? In China is on the verge of entering our business scene. Virtually any day now, if you go by reports which are coming thick and fast, the government is going to clear uh, investments from China into India, and they will allow bids from China to come in for projects. Why are they being allowed? They're being allowed because many of our own people are unable to take up those projects for the either for investment sake or for the thing of the technological complexity of these things, which China has the technology for it. As simple as that, infrastructure basically, and certain other things. I mean, I don't. I'm not privy to that. I suppose it will come out in due course. Well, be that as it may, what do we do with USA? A $1 million question. Do if you go that way, USA is going to be pretty cheesed off. Let's not have any doubts about that. But that's something which we can handle. But you also have a problem with USA because the trade deal is still not through. So what is that or? Right. At the outset, let me say, Rakadas has his right. He says India's option is India and reform internally. I agree with him 100%. If you can look at India's option as India and reform internally, you are there. But let me also assure you, reform is happening. From what you can read, thanks to what USA has done over the past 1 year and what China has also done simultaneously, there's a lot of reform happening. But that reform alone will not, take you past that post. You need infusion, and you need a good, I wouldn't say strategic partnership, but you need a solid strategic base for us to move ahead. Are we able? We are going to get it. We are there. I mean, look. Let me also put it. We are not unstable at this point of time. We are pretty stable. We are in a moment of opportunity, right? But either China or USA can throw us off. Others won't throw us off. Others will have little issues, but they can't throw us off. These two fellows will have the capability of throwing us off. Okay. And that is why I thought, let me discuss both of them. You can talk like this chap Amitesh, the fool that he is. India's only option proactive and deterrence. Proactive लेके कहाँ जाएगा तलवार लेके? You'll fight against USA. And what deterrence do you have against USA or China if you don't have your internal strength? Right? So before some of you chaps come up with some crazy ideas uh, even before the first word is spoken. So I said, let us examine. And especially there's a lot of enthusiasm about China. There's a lot of enthusiasm about China. Oh, a lot of business guys want China in. उनको क्या है पैसा बनेगा. But there are fundamental issues with China. Okay, we'll go over it. Let's understand this, and then we'll take it one by one. Global Times has reported India reportedly plans to scrap curbs on Chinese firms bidding for government contracts. Reported move signifies improvements in ties. It's not improvement in ties, which is a matter of thing. The fact that India is saying, okay, Chinese firms can come and bid, invest, all that, is a significant step. So, which means you'll have Chinese executing contracts here. Is it a comfortable situation? It is not. Is the government taking uh, a considered thought? I hope so. I hope it's not a rash thought that, give them 10 projects, they'll fail all 10 projects and put you back by 20 years. They don't mind investing some money to fail your projects. And you get into a project, don't do it, put you into, because that's an international project which you'll be putting out. Then that fellow takes you for international arbitration. In the meanwhile, your project can't start, and end of story. For the next 10 years, those 10 projects are thank you. See, so will we get into that? So all these things have to be considered. I do hope the government is considering. But from my perspective, this is what this narrative is not being driven by one side. Okay, this Xu Fihong is the Chinese ambassador to India. And he quotes Jeffrey Sachs, who's come on India TV today and spoken. I mean, there's a clip. I'll not get that clip, but the sum total is here. I'll explain. He says US economist Jeffrey Sachs says China and India need to get along with each other because the real problem is the instability coming from USA. So what this chap is saying is India and China should get together and face USA. And that he's quoting Jeffrey Sachs. Typical communist method है. यार वो बोल रहा है हम दोनों साथ हो जाएं तो let's become together. वो बोल रहा है ना. But इसी ने उसको बुलवाया है. Jeffrey Sachs, wherever he goes, he speaks for China. So you know who's paying him. And that fellow has been brought here in India and he appears on India Today. And Mr. Shiver who interviews him. Right? And he is very explicit. What the Chinese don't speak, he speaks. He is a Chinese whisperer. He says, US economist on why India and China should team up against Trump. They should team up. He's a US economist. In USA, if you go and talk of Jeffrey Sachs and his economy, people might just kill you. Okay, he is completely rabid leftist. Okay, internet में तो ठीक है. Guys like this will get a lot of traction. Guys like me can get traction. Why can't he get traction? But the fundamental thing is this. We need to realize this. This is a very interesting tweet by someone just like that. I picked it up and I've kept it because it's a treasure for me. It says Donald Trump's targeting of India is not subtle like Xi Jinping's. But Washington and China are in agreement that India's rise must be stalled. While China worries about demographic catastrophe, US confronts it with declining global power. This was before Venezuela and all that. So both of them, in one form or the other, want to undermine you. So why are we going after them? So why shouldn't we go or? And or we'll talk. We'll talk of this tomorrow, day after, because I'm not going to hurry this series up. Okay. Now I do hope, as our finance ministry is coming out with something, or MEA has come out with something else. So both these are incongruent. Is there an unbun in the government? Is the government two pages of is the government on the same page? Look at what the MEA has to say.
Chaksdam Valley is Indian territory. We have never recognized the so-called China-Pakistan boundary agreement that happened in 1963. We have consistently maintained that the agreement is illegal and invalid.
So the agreement between Pakistan and China in 1963, by which these fellows Pakistanis gave away the Shaksgam Valley, which they had no ownership in the first place, is illegal and invalid. Why is the government coming out telling this today when tomorrow you're going to let Chinese chaps to come and bid? Obviously, there's bloody some problem between our foreign ministry and finance ministry. I hope Modi ji knows what this fellow has spoken.
We do not recognize the so-called China-Pakistan economic corridor either, which passes through Indian territory that is under forcible and illegal occupation of Pakistan. The entire Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are an integral and inalienable part of India. This has been clearly conveyed to Pakistani and the Chinese authorities several times. We have consistently protested with the Chinese side against attempts to alter the ground reality in Shaksgam Valley. We further reserve the right to take necessary measures to safeguard our interests.
So he said we don't recognize CPC. You don't recognize Shaksgam Valley. Well, the same thing. What is China doing? China wants entire Arunachal Pradesh. He wants, all that. We'll talk of that. And then you tell him, you please come and build my bridge here. Yeah. What kind of a bridge will you get from that buffoon? Okay. We talk of Thaw. What do the Chinese say about it? This is written by Namrata Hasija. She's come and spoken. She keeps going to Taiwan as if she is going to post office every second day. Okay. And I mean, she's a good girl. She knows Chinese well. She knows Taiwan well. She knows China well. Met her quite a few times. Uh, what do they say? She's written this beautiful article in Diplomat. Domestic discourse in China frames the relationship as calculated balancing act to prevent India from aligning firmly with the US. They're still worried that India will align with the US despite Trump, even while Beijing maintains its aggressive stance on security issues. So their aim is very clear. They have no dosti with you. Of course, this ambassador here, he's got that fellow to talk that we should, form an anti-Trump front. Some idiot from here will say, "Oh, I will India, Indi Chini, bye bye against Trump," and you go and you bloody get your bums kicked. There's another narrative in China. We should understand whom we are dealing with. This is it. This came about 10 days back. How different is India's view of World War II history from that of China? Because as per Chinese history now, which they are writing of World War II, they are the ones who won the World War. Yeah, the others though didn't fight only. They are the victors of the World War II. And when it suits them, Americans are also the victors because then they say, "Oh, victors of the World War should unite and put everyone else to rule." What did India do in World War except give soldiers? That's the thing they say. They gave soldiers. That's about all. Nothing else. What did Chinese give? What did Chinese give? Chinese gave sweepers. Did Chinese fight? Whom did they fight? They bloody ran. All these Chinese. The real victory in World War II in this part of the world happened in Burma, British Indian Army. My unit got honors there. Battle of the Boxes. And from India, we supplied Chinese troops over the hump. All that is not history for them. For them, their history is what they did today. That's why that they celebrated that military day parade and all that nonsense. They're absolutely, let's be very clear, China is completely antagonist to you. They don't want your thing. They will come. You give them contracts, they will go down. Then they're saying, what will be the post World War international order 80 years from the World War? 80 years from World War is when? 2044, 54 years plus another 27, 2027. What will be the post war international orders be 8 years? In 2027, that Xi Jinping's famous timelines, as per them, China will be number one. Baki gone. It's time to make it clear to the whole world. These are the articles which are coming out. तुम किस खेत में के मूली हो भाई? Then their analysis, India, how India has lost Bangladesh. So if India has lost Bangladesh, who's the victor? China. This is their attitude. And of course, they have identified the biggest obstacle for China to exist in the Indian Ocean is who? India. And they keep saying in all such article, Indian Ocean doesn't mean it is India's ocean. But East China Sea means it's China's sea. South China Sea means it's China's sea. But Indian Ocean is not India's ocean. It is Chinese ocean. One of these days they'll say, oh, South, this will be the Chinese ocean. It's not Pacific Ocean, it is Chinese Ocean. And Indian Ocean doesn't exist. Pacific Ocean exists from, West Coast. It's all Chinese Ocean. That's what they want. See, if you go into this narratives which China brings out, it is actually vitriolic. And it is with these buffoons we want to go and do contracts. And China has eased its rules so that you go there as tourism. They want to entice you for tourism. And then they'll screw you there. Yeah, some people have gone. They're very happy with it because it makes money for them. Okay. This is important. Despite the thaw, anti-Indian sentiment is on the rise in China. This is written by a Chinese, Zhenmin Kai. Okay. What does he say? Their videos depicting Indian tourists in a negative light are making rounds. What is this negative light? Eating with hands on the subway, bathing in tourist attractions in China. We were all posted in social media and triggered a barrage of criticism and even racist remarks targeting Indians. Some comments even advanced that China should refuse entry to all Indian travelers and expel all Indians living in China. This is their thing, okay? They put some pictures. We don't know whether it's true or false. You can't eat in China. You can't eat with your hands in China. What do they eat their food with? That lady, what is that? Chopsticks. And that chopsticks are eternal. They better keep it up their bum also. This is what they write. Right? Indians are portrayed as unhygienic, morally deficient. Reports of a surge of in Indian immigrants occupying countries like Canada and China, Australia. That's the report that we have gone and occupied those countries, migrants, like these Muslim buggers have done in Germany and Europe. They are not true. So Chinese believe that tomorrow that will happen in China also. But what is the reality? Who wants to go to China? So the numbers have come out in that article. There are less than 8,000 Indians living in China. In Hong Kong, which was earlier an independent kind of a setup, there are about 40 odd thousand. Japan has got about 47,000. South Korea has 17,000. That's it. Total about 1.5 lakhs. In USA, our diaspora is 3 million strong. You mean to say the number of tourists who go there must be 5, 10, 15,000? These guys go and have a bath in the open in China? I mean, absurd. But the fact is, this is how you are portrayed. How can you welcome that fellow to come here and bloody build bridges for you? If you have to, I mean, if you have to, the government feels after all this gyani hai wahan, that this is the only way forward. You have to take precautions so that he tomorrow doesn't cheat you, because Chinese cheat and their work is substandard. We know both. Indians are seen as objects of ridicule and even discrimination. Their nationalists maintain a sense of security by attacking India. And India is seen to be inferior to China. Chinese feel that they are the subject of Western racism, all that. But when it comes to India, no, no, no. These chaps are idiots. It's okay. Western racism is okay against India, not against them. So some chaps tell me, "Sir, why are you against, Shankar is against China, biased against China? What, do you want me to go and lick their, backsides? And say, tell the Chinese you're the best guys here because you really hate me." And they put it in black and white. And such a chap you want to do business with. I don't know how a government also thinks at times. A fact is, despite all their efforts to revive the economy, they can't revive the economy. There are stories going off that there'll be mass migration from India if you open up uh, immigration into China. And they are worried that, if Chinese people issue visas to Indians, they'll come and settle there. They issued something called, when the H1B visa issue came up, they came out with something called a K visa. They said, no, no, K visa is to attract Indians. They'll all of them will come and spoil our society. And all those who come will be spies on Chinese society. Because the Chinese thinking है यार, communist people हैं वो. क्या करेगा? So you have to be very clear as to how you're going to deal with this scourge. And then don't forget, as this thing of business has started, this is also started. Panchan Lama goes and says, Panchan Lama says reincarnation must follow Chinese laws, which are endorsed by Beijing. So this number 2 Lama, who's a Chinese acolyte, he's a fake Lama. The original Panchan Lama, no one knows where he is. You see, when the Panchan Lama time came up, the Dalai Lama nominated the Panchan Lama, and the Chinese put one Panchan Lama. The guy who was nominated by Dalai Lama has been kidnapped. He's been kidnapped. वो तो ट्रम्प ने जो मदुरो को किडनैप किया ना, कुछ नहीं है. ये तो चाइना वाला तो हर एक दूसरे बंदे को किडनैप करता रहता है. Right? And now this fellow is a communist. He is singing the communist song. Then he says, they don't want to seal or Kanyang Jokwai, whatever that terminology is. But this article is about what? Recently, we held a Buddhist, international Buddhist discourse in Tawang. As per them, we shouldn't hold because Tawang is their territory. And how can we hold a Buddhist thing there? Buddhism is their father-in-law's religion, no? Only in China. See, one of the issues we have to be very clear is they are now coming up with a theory, and this is not a false theory. When I say it's not the theory is false, but it's not a false statement I'm making. They say that Buddhism is a Chinese religion. It originated in China, not in India. तो जो तुम्हारे पास ना वो बुद्धा का ट्री है गया, वो तो फेक है. असली ट्री तो वहां है ना, जी जिनपिंग के कंपाउंड में, और उसके पीछे एक बुद्धा बैठा होगा उधर पंचन लामा के साथ. This is their story, yeah, and it's so ridiculous. And that ambassador here says we should team up together. Okay, and we shouldn't celebrate that Dalai Lama was born in Tawang. That's what they think. China wants India over poet monk. Don't even think about stealing our sixth Dalai Lama. उसका कौन सा सिक्स दलाई लामा हो गया? See how they are. They are not giving you anything on the border. They are not giving this thing. They are helping Pakistan. They are helping Pakistan sell their J-17s to all those countries. That is a separate thing. I'll talk separately. Okay. They intend to do something in the Truxgam Valley, yeah, all that, and they don't like you, or they feel, you're their biggest problem in Indian Ocean, and then you want to tell them, no, please come and build me a bridge here. What kind of a finance ministry do we have? Is there coordination between our finance ministry and external affairs ministry? And then we want to become a great power. And then this is the cross-sectional view of the Brahmaputra Dam. That is, yahan se na, they'll have pipelines going through and 5 generators in between. And water will come out under Namche Barwa from here. Yeah. And then they have spoken, they have violated our sovereignty. They have done all this without telling us everything. And they have already sat in South China Sea and usurped the entire South China Sea. And then they have the gumption to tell China, USA, no, you cannot violate other sovereignty. भैया तुमने क्या किया? You bloody took over land from that Shaksgam Valley from Pakistan in 1963. From 1963 to now, you're only cutting away like salami slicing. Don't worry, और हमारा टाइम आ गया अभी तेरा सलामी स्लाइसिंग करने के लिए. Now let's turn to America. दूसरा है ना, this Lutnick fellow has come back again. He said, if Modi had given a call to Trump, the deal would have been done. You go into the timeline, he's lying. Completely lying. He's lying about the figures, he's lying about everything. If you go see that video of that thing, he's done it with the whom? He's done it with the Sri Lankan. The Republican Sri Lankan. Naturalized American. But, unlike China, you have to really give a thought to our relationship with USA. I keep saying this. See, a lot of people have said, oh, Shankar, he is pro-USA. He's got children out there. उसको टाइम उस चाचा को टाइम दो तो वो भाग जाएगा यूएसए को दे दो टिकट वगैरह. I think people have gone nuts. Yeah. If I have to go and sit in USA, I wouldn't be developing Ramjet here. Like idiots. I would have sold that technology. And I would retire after that, wherever I wanted. Not bloody talking on YouTube. So people should know what they're commenting and whom they're commenting. But then, of course, it doesn't matter. I'm sure everyone doesn't comment like that. Uh, there are a lot of guys who are paid agents in this, planted. I see a lot of these Pakistanis and Bengali buffoons talking like that, right? To instigate others. That I understand. But the fact is, we have a difficult relationship with USA coming up. And this is something it's actually eating my head these days. How do we get out of it? On one hand, we don't have a trade deal, and that guy wants to put tariffs on us 500%, which affects a whole lot of people. It's easy for you and I to give armchair comments, but look at the guy who was earlier selling shrimp to America or exporting rice to America. His livelihood is gone. For you and I, it is akadas, numbers, and good talk. What about that guy? What about that farmer, that shrimp maker, chap who's making cotton, guy who's making small things which are going jewelry, small beads? Don't gems and jewelry are all gold and silver and all that. Small things, fancy items जो fancy shop में मिलता है वो भी जाता है यूएस से. Benjis make at home. What happens to them? That is the problem with this deal not going through. And trust. We have no trust there. Look at that chap Trump's behavior with our PM. It saddens. And mind you, this is the effect of 25 years of hard work by whole lot of presidents, whole lot of prime ministers, whole lot of defense secretaries, whole lot of foreign secretaries on both sides. I still remember an occasion in Delhi long back at the turn of the century. I was posted there, went for a meeting. Jaswant Singh, or External Affairs Minister then, and Mr. Strope Talbot, who was the Secretary of State. Discussion. We were all there. Uh, the kind of patience they exhibited with each other was not funny. At times we used to think, why are these chaps talking this way here? This is not true. We have so many problems between India and USA. But why are these chaps trying to become friends? But they patiently went through that. Later one realized, जब अकल आया हमें भी थोड़ा one realized, and slowly the relationship improved till last year, and Trump sank it. But look at it from a different point of view. Look at this tweet by our Prime Minister. When was it put? 2 weeks back, December. Glad to meet Mr. Lip Butan. India welcomes Intel's commitment to our semiconductor journey. He comes, meets the Prime Minister, and he commits that I will make semiconductors in India. He's coming from there to make semiconductors here, and we don't have a deal. Then Satya Nadella comes, he commits $17 million, $1 billion. Google, Sundar Pichai goes to Hyderabad, he commits 5 billion. Amazon wants to put 30 billion, all in the next 5 years. I mean, something like to the tune of 67 to 72 billion committed. It makes this CPC looks like chiller, loose change. टिप देते हो ना वेटर को, उतना ही है वो. It's going to be game changing for India. Whether that for the deal is true or not. So we are in a difficult situation of not being okay with the government, but the rest of the people want to come into India, which means what? It means that for the next 3 years we're going to have a problem. Or of course, till Trump relents. After that, we'll see what happens. But by then, the business relationship between America Incorporated and India would be so deep that there is no way back. Their money is here. They're sinking money in here, nowhere else, because there's nowhere else to sink. That's the thing. Does it stop here? I've told you, our defense requirements, they're very deep. Our relationship is deep. People say, no, no, why should you go and buy a foreign stuff? ये भी बोला गया ना, शंकर वो foreign stuff भी लेता रहता है. I've indigenized entire Indian artillery. That's a different story. But let me talk about M777. We got that gun. It's here. Today it is indigenized. We can make every part of it in India. In fact, we're exporting M777 parts from India to abroad for their global requirements. We flipped it. And what's more, people say, oh, we should develop our own technology, go to Russian technology, this technology. We should do all that nonsense. But in battle, the way we've handled it, the way we've trained ourselves, the way we've acquired, the American equipment has stood us in good stead. We talk of Sindoor, great. BrahMos did that, great. The French equipment did well. Those scalp missiles and all that, fantastic. There is also a fact that 7 militant camps were targeted by whom? Army. No one speaks of that. I hope you guys know that those 7 targets which were targeted and finished off, finished off, were done using M777. And of course, drone shows and all that. Israeli drones, all that. M777s basically. Using what? Excalibur ammunition. American. So how can you kick them off? Yeah? You just ordered for more. Initially, I also know why I'm talking about Excalibur is Excalibur came 3 years back, and I started the deal. As the M777 was coming in, one day General Bipin Rawat and I, Bipin was the vice chief, I was a DGRT. Bipin was my junior, though he was my senior in as a vice appointment wise. Otherwise, I was his senior, and he had a lot of things. So one day we were walking out of South Block. He not walking out. We were walking out of a conference in South Block. He said, "Sir, आपका गाड़ी है यहाँ?" मैंने कहा, "हाँ." I want to come with you. I said, "Come." तो ये तेरा ऑफिस तो इधर ही है, वहां जाके चाय पी लेते हैं. No, no. He says, "I want to come to you." So I said, "Fine." So we went from South Block. We went to Sena Bhavan. Okay, and he said, "आपका." He came and sat in my office, and of course we spoke about many things. Then he said, "Sir, what is your view about Excalibur? You've been to USA, especially for this gun. What's your view?" I said, "Take it." Then he said, "Why are you not initiated it?" I said, "Yeah, I can't initiate it till I get that bloody gun here. If the day we get that gun initiated, till then just hold." Yeah, he says, "ठीक है sir, ये otherwise we'll be to this thing." And that was 2016. I retired that year. And then he rang me up later. Gun आ गया sir, और मैंने डाल दिया requirement for Excalibur. It came in the next 2 years. Then he said, "Sir, बड़ा महंगा है, अफोर्ड नहीं कर पा रहा हूं मैं." मैं कहा, "ले लेना, बिकॉज दिस विल स्टैंड यू इन गुड स्टेट." उसके बाद क्या करेंगे? मैंने कहा, "यार सब कुछ ठीक हो गया था, आई गिव यू अ रैमजेट." ठीक है, तो वो दूंगा मैं रैमजेट. बट ही दे टुक. You do these things to meet a requirement. No one else would have given you that. We didn't need technology. We needed capability. That capability and this conversation I had when 2018, 7 years back, that man is gone up. God bless his soul. Today, Op Sindur, I was so happy that those Excaliburs took off those 7 terrorist camps. I thought, after that success, America will say, thanks to us, we broke those terrorist camps. They should have applauded their success. But Trump did ulta. अब क्या करें? यही तो है कहानी जियो पॉलिटिक्स में. We hit those terrorist targets with American equipment and American ammunition, and America disowned it. So this is the reality we have to deal with. But look at it into the future. You still have that gun. That gun will serve you for another 40, 50 years. We are already looking at upgrades for that. We are using, and that ammunition will continue for a long time to come, not Excalibur alone, other forms of ammunition. Most of the ammunition for even M777 we make now. It's not this thing. We proved that gun on our ammunition. So no problem. So all that is there. That's applicable for your strategic lift. Or our aircraft go to Daulat Beg Goldie. Or aircraft go to Neoma. Heavy lift. Which is our? Our is C-17 Globemaster Chinook Apache. और कोई नहीं है भैया. ये अमेरिकन कैपेबिलिटी है आपके पास, तोहफा, और 50 साल तक रहेगा. IL-76 from the first day of my service till the last day of my service, I saw IL-76, AN-32, all those. That is being replaced by American aircraft now. It will continue for the next 40 years. How can you break your equation with USA? Yet, you can't trust them today. It is not only that. I saw this article, a very good article on this relationship between India and US. I thought I'll put it across to you. He says US India inside beyond optics, India's new strategic commercial linkages. He brings out that as of today, we have 6 FTAs. Europe, UAE, Australia. Both these we've been having from 22. Okay. Then EFTA, UK, Oman, and New Zealand, which you've signed in the past 1 year plus. March 24 to now. What's more interesting? Out of the 6 agreements which we have, 3 are with US security allies. Okay. And the others are with all those guys who are okay with US. All these chaps have signed FTAs with us, thinking that, yaar, they America ka dost ban raha hai, so let's become dost with them also. Now in the Republic Day now, who's coming as your chief guest? Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa, who's the European Council president. So you are opening a new channel with them, which is very important. He says India's most significant global engagements have largely centered around American partners. India and America's partners are good friends now. America is not. That's where we are. And he says America's volatile foreign policy is forcing India to revisit its own priorities. Domestically, the Modi government seems to be intent to move faster on domestic reforms to buttress growth that is ordinarily fueled by commercial ties with United States. Same thing this chap has written, Shekhar Gupta. Today article I saw. He says because USA has done what it has done, there's reform on. which is good. And internationally, India is redoubling efforts to build stronger bilateral connections with key partners. Who are they? As for him, Russia and China. But Russia and China, we have limited. Russia, especially, we have limited thing. Okay. Yeah. India's emerging concrete long-term security and commercial deals tend to focus on America's partners and allies. These partners, all of them, are also happy to deal with US, India, because they want to also hedge away from America. See the congruence of interests. And this is where we get the path out, or China, USA, or who? All of China's partners. So is the scene poor for us? No. Of course, if we have to get China in for a few things, we might have to. I mean, I hope it's a considered decision. But we have to now expand our thing into American partners who will be more than happy to meet us. All that I've said. Right. Now, there's this thing which I spoke 2 3 weeks back about the stagnant order and the end of rising powers by Michael Beckley. As per him, as populations shrink, lost power may be gone for good. And those countries which are losing population are losing power. And that will not come back. And in this, he says the only two big powers which will keep getting power are USA and India. USA due to migration, India is a rising power. He says India is the only economy which will keep pace with the United States. How do you make sure it happens? From 2020 to 24, China's GDP fell from being it used 20 in 2020 it was 70% of US GDP. By 24 it became 64%. It had gone down. Japan's plunged from 22 to 14. And you know, and all those. Ours has gone much up. In 2020, what was your GDP? About $2 trillion. Today, that has doubled to $4 trillion. So, as a percentage of the US GDP, you've grown up because from 2020 to now, the US GDP has not doubled. This is important. Your growth cannot be stopped. And another article, which very nice article in Foreign Affairs, is the India Trump made. I'll not go into that many things, but I'll cover the main things. It says India is taking the form of multi-alignment. And he says an orientation designed to build stronger ties with many countries, even if those states have contradictory interests. So our multi-alignment will take in partners who have contradictory interests. Russia and USA have contradictory interests. Russia and Europe will have contradictory interests. Israel and China will have contradictory interests, but we still have to take all of them in. And he says, despite friction, United States will remain the most important, erratic, and occasionally troublesome partner. That's the thing. It will be troublesome. But we now almost joined at the hip. Okay. Moscow will remain a significant partner. But he says in this article, Moscow has limits, and this limits of this partnership are finite. Because arms, while we are dependent on Russia for some arms, we have also capped it. Slowly, our percentage of Russian arms in our inventory is coming down. Once upon a time, when I was young, it was in the order of 70%. Today, it is around the order of 35%. We've halved it already. And it's going to come down further. It's going to come down. I have no doubt about it. Because other than oil and arms, Russia offers you nothing. And that oil market is going to fracture. And the reason is that's why, like someone today, after today morning's podcast, has given a comment. Oh, Shankar is only thinking of Iran and what's going to happen there. Keep track. Iran is critical for India. If Iran falls, that entire market, oil market of Iran will be available to us. If that is available to us, we can ditch. We have the capability of ditching Russia or reducing or requirement from Russia and telling Trump, oh, look, I've reduced. So now what's the problem? Let's have the deal. It gives you leverage. And who's going to topple Iran for us? USA. Who's is Israel? I mean, US entry into Venezuela good, bad, or ugly? From my side, it is good for me because China is kicked out from there. What happens to USA there? I couldn't care a damn. Let him do what he wants. I have $1 billion stuck there. I'm getting it. So you have to be practical about it. But at the same time, do I trust USA? Out of question. Do I have a formal relationship with? I'll think 10 times. Should I be transactional with him like Trump is transactional with us? Yes. And China will remain our primary challenge. That's what he said. We require economic investment and advanced technology. At this point of time, that investment is coming from, I've shown you, 67, $70 billion. China is not going to give you that. Okay. And we have to deepen our ties with Australia, Japan, South Korea, Brazil, Middle East. Our outlook has to change. We shouldn't be dependent on USA because USA will ditch us. It ditched us in Op Sindur. We know that. So our dilemma is how do you replace those goods which USA will not provide to us? Start thinking of that. You need alternate sources of technology, defense cooperation, and economic partnership. There's no one to replace USA for us at this point of time, practically. But all is not lost with USA. I mean, that's the way I look at it. But nothing is gained either. I was the first one to say that our strategic partnership with USA has gone. We have a partner, we have a relationship, and that relationship is pretty deep. How to manage that relationship is a problem for us. It's going to be problematic for us. There's no getting away. So we are at a crossroads. Whether you want to invite China in and acquire another set of problems, or you deal with this current set of problems, or go the third route towards EU. EU, Australia, China, Australia, Japan, Korea, and Brazil. And of course, the global south, Africa, Latin America. Because you have a strong presence in Africa. So, this is where our dilemmas are. I thought I'll put that across country by country. Tomorrow, I'll talk of India and how India is, still a strong system. Very strong, in fact. I see it getting stronger by the day. And we'll discuss this in the light of what's happening. And let's see if I can get an update on Iran by then. I don't know what's going to happen. Iran can go anytime, or it can go the other way around also. And we'll have to see. But then we'll take it. I'll keep track because when I go get others to talk. We talk of everything. I prefer to concentrate on India. With this, I'll stop here. If you like this video, do press the like button. Join in as a subscriber. Subscribe to Gana Short with the bell icon, you know, ticked or pressed, and also, you know, join in as a member.